Hey guys, it's Florine from Somewhat Sorted, and in this video I wanted to showcase 3 examples, relatively simple solutions that you could do to some laundry problems you might be facing, such as getting those stubborn grease stains off of clothes. So hopefully one of these tips will be useful to you, so let's get into it. I just finished washing these, and sometimes, like in this situation, you might find that the kind of string gets out of the, what do you call this part? Like the stretchy pants part. And so now I want to put these back on, and the trick that I found that works pretty well is to take a safety pin, take one end of the string, poke a hole through it, and then you want to use some tape. You want to use some tape to cover up the opening so that the needle doesn't just kind of fall out of place. Then you'll find the opening, push it in, and then you'll feel that safety pin to sort of help glide you through it. And there you have it. One end is out again. Want to pull at it until they become even again. Last step is to cut off the plastic now, the tape. And then you can take this off. And now this one is ready to be worn again. Moving on to the next one. Sometimes at the part that you struggle a little bit with, you just have to push a little harder. Now we're at the opening end. And now that one's finally done as well. And there you have it. Completed these 2 shorts today. A little trick that you can do using safety pins to get the string back into the pants if they ever fell out of there. Now, a few days ago, I accidentally spilled some pesto on my clothes, so these 2 items have some stains in them, and now I want to go through the stain removal process, and I thought it'd be good to showcase how I do things like this, because I've had before many struggles trying to get off very prominent dark green stains, especially when they're white, but the last time I did this technique, it really worked out, so I thought it would be good to showcase this to others in case you're also struggling to get these kind of stains off of your clothes. So first thing I did was lay it out flat and then make sure that you can see the stain. Then I'll spray it with some water. Now, we've probably all heard of the technique of mixing baking soda with some water and some vinegar over a stain, which does work a bit. I find the secret ingredient to be borax powder. So I'll add about a teaspoon of that. Next up, you want to add some water to the mixture, just enough to make it into kind of a thick paste. You don't want it to be too runny or too watery. And then I'll pour the mixture over each stained spot that I can see. Once you've done that, I'm going to add some vinegar over it. So I put my vinegar in a spray bottle, which I find makes it a lot easier to add on top of things like this. And then basically I'll let this sit for a few hours, preferably maybe even overnight. And then I'll give this a wash in a regular cycle. And then hopefully the stains will be out. But depending on how deep it is, sometimes you might have to repeat this process 2 or 3 times. The wash came out of the dryer and I'm about to fold it, so I just want to check if the stains did come out after all. Pretty sure there was a stain on the sleeves and I don't see anything here. Worked. This one at the front, also nothing to see. And lastly, with the pants, they also almost look good as new. So, glad this worked out. Give this a try if you also have these kind of stains on your light clothes especially. And so now it's folding time. Now the next easy stain removal process that I wanted to showcase revolves around how to get rid of those stubborn grease stains. Now I have here my boyfriend's sweatpants and I can see a few of these little stain marks, grease stain marks, and these can be those very stubborn stains that are so hard to get rid of if you don't know what you're doing. For example, before finding this method, I would try different detergents, I tried a stain removal thing, I tried baking soda, vinegar, all these different methods, but none of them worked until I found this method, and it's so simple yet very effective. I've had to do this on multiple different clothing items and it always seems to work. Sometimes I will have to repeat the process twice depending on how greasy the stain is or how long it's been there, how deep in the fabric it is, but typically this does work. So if you have some greasy stains, then give this method a try. So I have brought my supplies up here. I have a clean bucket, a sink nearby, some dishwashing liquid, and a clean sponge. I prefer to use a silicone sponge because sometimes if you use a regular sponge, then that sponge can really soak up all the water in the soap and it doesn't disperse enough of it onto the clothing item, and you want most of the liquid soap to be absorbed on the clothing item. So first things first is observe where all the stains are. And then you want to wet the fabric quite generously. Doesn't matter how dry it is, but you just don't want to have that dry fabric feeling it. But at the same hand, you also don't need it to be soaking, dripping wet. Hopefully it's not too dark, but the next simple step is to pour a generous amount of the liquid soap over the clothing item, concentrating on where the stains are, obviously. And then I'm just gonna spread it on there. These kind of sponges also help penetrate into the fabric. Okay, and then once that's done, I just grab the piece of clothing and then the bucket. Then once the item is in a clean bucket, you want to let it sit for a few hours in a place that it's not bothersome to you, for example, an extra sink somewhere in your house. But I'm going to leave mine in the bathtub and then I'll come back to it tomorrow because I'm going to do a regular dark load anyways, and then I'll rinse out the rest of the detergent and then do the regular wash load. So I'll come back to this tomorrow. Well, it's the next day, so now it's time to rinse out as much of the liquid soap as possible, and then also squeeze out as much of the water as possible. I remembered that I scrubbed most of the liquid soap onto this area, so as I'm rinsing it out, I'll try to concentrate on that area. And now the next step is to squeeze out as much of the water as possible. And now I placed all of them into this bucket so I can bring this to the washing machine to give it a wash. Alright, so I'm here at the washing machine and I'll add in the clothes from the bucket first. And then just the rest of the regular dark load. And I'll be back in a bit. Okay, I finished washing all the darks and now I want to check on the clothes with the grease stain and see if they got out. Okay, looking a lot better. So give this simple method a try as well. And hopefully that has helped solve one or more of your laundry problems. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.